Good afternoon, everybody. And as Jael said, welcome to a special edition of Resolve It in 30, where you bring the questions and we bring the answers. We wanted to do this special edition because the PPP Loan Forgiveness readiness is really, it's here, and it's a good time to really start to get your ducks in order because this is going to be an important issue when you file your taxes in 2021 for the year 2020. With us today, as I say with a smile, is our CPA to the stars, Victor Garrido, not only a valued member of the chamber, but very, very, very informed about this topic. My co-pilot today, along with me, is Jael Tasher. You heard her at the beginning, and we ask you to mute your mics, as Jael said. And if you have questions, put them in the chat box because we'll be monitoring those. And we've got the 30 minutes all set and ready to go. And this 30 minutes is brought to you by La Mega Radio. We are really thrilled to have them as the sponsor of this particular segment as well. They are interested in dealing with each one of our members individually. All you have to do is give them a call at 215-426-1900. Let them know you're a member of the chamber and begin the discussion of how they can help you from the customized advertising perspective. And with that, let me turn it over to Victor Garrido, again, who is going to be speaking to us today about the PPP loan readiness. Victor, take it away.
Okay, thank you. So I think it's a great time just to talk about this topic because probably some of the 8 weeks or 24 weeks will be over for some of the businesses. So let's go to the next slide. So we already discussing back in June, how to maximize forgiveness so you could get like the maximum amount of dollars for your business and how like not to have it to pay it back. So just like to get the forgiveness if you met certain requirements. Back in June, there were some forms, things have been changing. Now we have a couple of scenarios. So either you're still like number one, you're still in the 8 weeks or 24 weeks period. So you're still like in that PPP and you're using your funds, or the 8 weeks or 24 weeks of PPP is over and then you can apply for forgiveness. So if you click once again, so if you're still in a scenario one, just make sure you meet the PPP requirements so you don't have to pay it back. Either track your expenses, especially anything related to employees, and then depends on the size of the loan. It will be extremely important, and forecast what are your final numbers going to be once the 8 weeks or 24 weeks are over. Once that happens, you will move automatically to a scenario two. Could you click again? And then once you are in the ready for the forgiveness, your PPP period is over, then select the appropriate form, and we will go through it, and reach out to your financial institutions. Unfortunately, each financial institution is working in a different way. Some of them, they are not accepting applications, others they are. Some of them, they are accepting certain forms of applications. They are asking monthly bank statements or monthly payroll reports or not, like all together for the PPP period. So they are asking all different items. So you will have to talk with your financial institution, make sure that you apply forgiveness. You still will have 10 months from the end of the PPP period, but we highly recommend to start working on it because it can take some time from the bank, and then the bank will submit that information to SBA. So they might have additional questions. Let's move to the next slide. So the first is just require information. It's applicable to the three forgiveness form released by the SBA. So they want to know who got the form, right? Like all your information. So they match the information to the loan, the information on the loan amount, the SBA loan number, the lender PPP, and then the EIDL advance. Keep in mind that if you receive the PPP forgiveness and you receive also EIDL advance, you cannot combine them. So you will have to give back probably the EIDL advance. Usually it's a smaller amount. So it's just like you cannot combine them. So it's asking in the application, how much money did you receive? It is not clear how you're going to return the money. We are waiting for some guidance. Not even the financial institution know how like the EIDL advance is going to be given back. They are asking for employees, frequency of payroll, calculations, and depends on the form. For example, the frequency of payroll, a calculation of the use of funds is not applicable to the S form. The S form is the simplified or the simple form, is the easiest one of the three. And then the PPP Schedule A and PPP Schedule A worksheet is not applicable to the simple or the easy. The easy is kind of safe harbor. I will go through later on, and it's also a little easier. The long form, I don't expect almost any of the members and people listening to this podcast or like WebEx or whatever it is, this presentation to be applicable. So I'm going to focus on the two that are probably 99.9% of the members. But if you go into the really complex one, get help. And I don't think you should be in the complex one. So let's move to the next one. So as I said before, each financial institution is asking different documentation. Originally for the easy forms, like the two ones, they were just going to be certifications. So they said, okay, we are not going to require the forms, but the banks are asking for it. So each bank might be asking for different documents. Could be your payroll reports in one way or another. It could be your bank statements. It could be like any utilities, rent. They could ask for the lease agreement. So it depends, right? So just fill out the information to the best you can. If you don't have that file, sometimes you will have to upload something else just to continue, because when you process this online, the process is not great for some banks. So there are three PPP forgiveness forms. The 3508S, that is the simple, for any borrower that receive a PPP loan of less than 50,000 or less, which this is going to be a majority of the members, that they don't really have employees, or they have a limited number of employees. Sole practitioner, independent contractor, some of them, they receive less than 50,000. And then it is extremely easy. So you just have to fill out the form. You can just go inside your financial institution portal. There will be a forgiveness portal. And then you just have to certify and sign the form. There's no calculations. You just have to upload whatever the bank is asking or whatever the financial institution. It is just a certification of funds. It doesn't get complicated. So there's no reason why you will have questions about it. But if you have questions, you can either reach out to your tax professional, your bank customer representative, or something like that. So this is one that, take advantage. If you have anything of 50,000 or less, use this one. Okay, that's the easiest way. So let's go to the next slide. The second one that is almost as easy is the 3508 EC. That is one that provides the safe harbor. What is safe harbor? Safe harbor is, don't worry what it happened, that we will forgive you the loan, kind of, okay? They say like, okay, you have to check on one of the boxes. You just have to check on one. It could be applicable to several of them, but it is the following. Either you're self-employed, you're an independent contractor, or sole proprietor with no employees. If that's the case, you qualify for the 3508, right? If it's lower than 50,000, you use the other one. If you have a loan higher than 50,000 and you meet one of these requirements, you use this one. The second requirement, or like option, right? It is, I didn't reduce the annual salary or hourly wages by more than 25%. Hopefully you kept your employees at the same pay level, even if they work less hours. If you kept them at the same rate level, but they work less hours, that's okay. You didn't reduce how much you were paying per hour to that person. And you did not reduce the number of employees unless you were not able to hire skilled employees or the workers refused to come back. So let's suppose, a restaurant, that they didn't reduce how much they were paying the employees, but they didn't have as much, like people refused to come back, or they couldn't find like the cook or something like that. They will be okay if they receive more than $50,000, to do the 3508 EC. And the third one, safe harbor, is the same. You didn't reduce your hourly salaries or the annual salaries for that period of time, and you were not able to operate at the same level, which this should be applicable to 99.999, because I'm sure March, April, June, you're not operating 100% capacity. So what SBA is doing is giving you like these options so you don't have to go to the complex one. So 99.9 of the people that receive more than $50,000, which are not in the simple form, they should qualify for this. And you're required to check at least one of the boxes. There could be like several applicable to you. So what happens here is on this one, they ask a little more information than the previous form. And they ask for the payroll schedule, like what was the period, and the forgiveness calculation. What the forgiveness calculation is really easy, is whatever the payroll was, whatever other expenses that they were allowed, like mortgage interest, rent, utilities, and then it will calculate your forgiveness. If you spend more than 60% of the funds on employees, then you're fine. So the calculation is super, super easy. A lot of our clients, they spend all the money in employees. But I mean, I will highly recommend you to check, and then it's easy to qualify for the full forgiveness. The calculations for the financial institutions are online. And what I always check with our clients, and we do WebEx and so on, is just to make sure that when we calculate the forgiveness amount with the right and accurate information matches the PPP loan given to you. So 99.999 of the people that they have loans over 50,000, they should qualify for this. We have been hearing people going directly to the complex one. You don't need to, right? Like the safe harbor is there for this. And let's go to the next one. This is if you really have a reduction of the hourly wages. If someone was making $20 and then suddenly you reduce this person to 14, 15, it will be in the 25, so it will be $14 or something like that. So then it will be, but I don't know that many businesses that they reduce the hourly rate, they reduce the number of hours of their employees. So that's the reason you are okay to do the other one. This one is extremely complex. There are schedules, worksheets, and so on. So our advice is just to choose appropriately. If you're under the $50,000, you're on the simple form that truly is simple. Otherwise, you should be probably on the easy form, as I said, with the requirements. There are a lot of questions. There's like a little misinformation on the type of forms, even the calculations. Feel free to reach out to the chamber, to us, to whoever. But as far as you input the information on the PPP portal, PPP forgiveness portal from your financial institution, and you see that the numbers make sense and you get full forgiveness if you're entitled to full forgiveness. So that will be, and majority of our clients, members, and so on, they are entitled, especially after the safe harbor. So that will end my presentation. I think like choose your form appropriately and consult with your business advisor, tax professional, bank relationship contact, or whoever else can help you. But I'm open for questions, and we are spending, all our team are spending like the last 2-3 weeks just focus on this forgiveness and making sure that you don't have to pay it back or you get full forgiveness. So we have been, doing this for like the last few weeks. So we kind of know what we are doing at this point, but they keep changing. So I would say just keep in mind that SBA keeps changing FAQs and so on. But more than happy to get any questions on this matter.
Victor, I've got just a couple little notes that I wrote down here, and Nicole and Carolina, certainly chime in here should you have a question. And you don't need to do it in the chat box, ladies. You can just chime in because we're a small group right now. But Victor, what becomes clear is there are 3 different forms here to use. Okay. My first question is, when you have, you got the PPP loan. When you're now going back to your financial institution, are they expected to give you the direction as to which form to use, or are you going to be able to tell them as you go in and talk to them about the forgiveness piece that you want to use a specific form?
So what we have been seeing is the borrower, whoever the business owner is supposed to know what form they should be using. The bank doesn't want to be telling people because otherwise they are liable. What some of the banks are doing really well is, I know that your loan was $40,000 or $20,000, then I automatically made you go to the simplify under 50,000, right? So sometimes it just asks you like, how much is the loan amount? They have it already in the system. So they will tell you, hey, you have to use this. But if the loan was over $50,000, that's the problem there, because you have either the complex or the medium one. And if you go in the medium one, that you should be choosing the medium one, which one of those scenarios, right? Like which one of the safe harbor you have to choose. So we have a lot of questions on which one of the safe harbor is applicable to me. And people get scared about safe harbor, right? It's a technical word. So they are like, oh, I don't want to use this. I'm not sure. Yeah, you qualify for the safe harbor. So you need to know the bank is not going to help you too much because they are liable on whatever they tell you if it's wrong. But if you're under 50,000 is really easy. And then if you're over 50,000, I don't see any reason, unless you truly reduce your hourly wages on more than 25, not to use the 3508 EC.
Okay. The other question, Victor, then becomes, from one of timing. So from everything that I've read, including what's been posted in the Federal Register, this whole process can take up to 5 months. So my understanding is the financial institution has up to 3 months to, once your application is in, to sort of process it and bless it, so to speak, and then send it up to the SBA, who has up to 2 months to be able to take a look at that and just sign off on it. So it's a 5-month process at the outset. Is that correct?
Yeah, and the thing is SBA is a government body, nothing against. They have done an amazing work. I mean, this is billions of dollars, but keep in mind that they are limited on the resources, and this has been like issuing billions of dollars, right, to small, medium, and big businesses. So it's going to take some time. What is interesting is once I get the forgiveness, and that's where you have to talk with your tax professional, the IRS position is that you cannot take the expense deduction. So, it's kind of income. I cannot take the deduction. So then I'm paying taxes on that PPP. While the legislators, they were saying, no, I mean, we don't want you paying taxes on this help. So, when you prepare your taxes, you might get forgiveness at the year end. So are you going to apply the forgiveness before year end because maybe next year the taxes are going to be higher? Are you not going to do it? So it's really interesting how there's a discussion. It should be a tax professional discussion, CPA, enroll agent, whoever it is. Do I go with the legislators and really a little more aggressive, and say, okay, I'm taking the deduction, or do I follow what it was the IRS communication, I think it's 2020-23, that there was the notice, saying, hey, you cannot deduct those expenses. So I think it's really, really interesting on when you get the forgiveness, when and when you prepare the taxes, because it's 5 months from now, the business taxes, if it's an LLC S corporation, is due March 15, and C corporation should be April 15, unless you extend it. So you will not know, almost with a high probability, you will not know if you have been forgiven the funds until probably after taxes. So it's like an interesting discussion that you should have with your tax professional, how you're going to do it, especially if tax rate will go up, next year. I mean, so.
Right, exactly. And you brought out exactly where I was going with that. So I appreciate it. I have one more question for you, and then I'll turn it over to anybody else that may want to ask one. And that is, you brought up a very important point, and that is the idle advance on the PPP. Can you just go over that again, Victor, slowly, so that those who are going to be tuning into this presentation on our website and are not able to be here today are a little clearer about that?
Yes. So the EIDL advance was up to $10,000 grant provided from the SBA. You had to apply online, and they give you based on the number of employees. So it was up to $10,000, and that money went really fast. You know, you applied online, and they give you up to $10,000. Later on, they were going through the PPP SBA loan, right? That is with the potential of forgiving it. If you have 10 employees, you receive $10,000, and then with the PPP, you receive whatever the calculation was, the 2.5 times like monthly, whatever it is. Let's suppose that I receive $80,000 through my PPP, and I receive $10,000 through the EIDL. So then I have to give back the EIDL, and the phone requests like what is the EIDL advance and how much was the amount that you received, and it's linked to your either Social Security, EIN, or whatever like that. So they know. So what is going to happen is you're going to report, hey, I received $80,000 PPP, I received $10,000 EIDL, and we assume that at that point, they will tell you, hey, you have to give us back that $10,000. How they are going to do it, we don't know. As of right now, we don't know. I don't know if you will be able to pay in 2 years or 5 years, or you will have to pay immediately. I don't know what is going to happen. You know, it's not clear to us what they are going to do, but EIDL and PPP is not combined. If you got one or the other, you have to choose. I will 100% of the times choose the PPP because the loan amount is higher and is, you know, forgiven, or that they will be forgiven, and the other one was a grant. But if you got PPP, probably you got more money from PPP. So I always take the higher amount, which is more beneficial to our clients.
Right. Going to be some, you know, certainly some walking on the tightrope there, especially in the first, you know, 3-4 months of 2021.
Yes.
Let me open it up and see if anybody, Carolina, Nicole, or Colleen has a question. If you do, now's a good time to chime in. And if not, I have one more question for Victor, but go ahead.
I have a question, and Kieran, you answer all the good questions. You were right on point. It was great information and great feedback, especially about the tests and what to do with the loan, and is it going to be forgiven or not. So I just have one question left, and is, have you seen anybody actually gotten the forgiveness?
Not yet. The process just started. The banks, I think October 2nd, or like something around like early October, the director of SBA, I mean the boss at the SBA, Joe Bill Carranza or something like that, opened, you know, SBA forgiveness. So they opened the process like for the banks to start sending applications beginning of October. So we all CPAs and enroll agents, we got like this, we get like the Journal of Accountancy, you were like a little freaks on this. So we were like all excited, right? So, but so many of the banks, they were not ready. TD, for example, last night, I know they are accepting certain application, but not the simplified yet. So I could tell you like right now, I know 10, 15, 20 banks, and I know more or less what they are like all doing, and it's completely different. So as of right now, as we have to wait 5 months, and that's hopefully will be 5 months. Right now, it has been only 1 month. I don't know any of our clients, and I'm talking about hundreds of like clients that they applied and so on. Right now, I don't think even the bank, I think it's sitting at the bank level. I think the bank received the information. They like to that we, you know, business owners do it online, so they don't have to have someone manually imputing the information on their system. So they are making everyone just to either do it through the bank, or they outsource that. They sold the PPP loans to someone else, to fintechs. And that's what we are seeing. And then you fill out the information. They will get like the first review of the documents that you included as part of your forgiveness application. But I don't think they have sent it yet to the SBA. Some of the smaller banks, they have been kind of better at it, like kind of reaching out more to the clients. But you know, they have time. I mean, forgiveness, you can apply for forgiveness 10 months later, the PPP period is over. We are highly recommended all our clients to do it early on, like November, December, just send the loan forgiveness application. Also, because we don't have capacity from January to April, we are working 80 hours plus. So I don't want to be dealing with PPP forgiveness during tax season. So that's one of the reasons. But no, I mean, the short answer to your question is no. Haven't known anyone that received forgiveness yet.
Okay.
But they will. I think if you fill out the forms properly, there's no reason why you know, they will not. I think the purpose of this PPP was helping the business and the businesses we have been impacted, right? Like especially small, medium businesses. So I don't think there will be any issues with getting forgiveness if you can prove that you use the funds for the right. I mean, we know in the news there have been like someone that bought a Rolls Royce or bought a Ferrari or bought whatever. They already went like DOJ, right? Department of Justice was already after them, or say like they have payroll and there was no payroll, right? So they already are in jail, some of these people. But like normal entities, small businesses and people that will listen to this presentation, if you have questions, just reach out. I don't want anyone just losing forgiveness or not getting full forgiveness because they didn't know. And that's the reason the chamber is doing a great job, even maximizing forgiveness, going through like the taxes and everything. So I think this is a really important presentation. And it's something that we even discuss with SBA. We have this discussion with SBA the same, just to make sure that people are okay and understand the forms.
Victor, we have about a minute or two left. Nicole, looks like you have a question. Go right ahead.
So for those who are in the unfortunate category of having to complete the 3508 form, based on your experience and working with clients, do you have any high-level suggestions? Certainly, we would have our CPA help us. But any other thoughts on that? Or have you seen a lot of pushback on certain parts from banks in terms of providing more information and et cetera?
So if it's like 3508, that is the complex one, is fine. I mean, we are doing it for some of the clients. I mean, as far as you fill out the form, it's just that I will really check that that's the case, that you or your company really reduce the hourly rate for like the employees and you don't qualify for safe harbor. If that's the case, that's fine. You will fill out like that form, but then you will get like partial forgiveness. It's extremely complex, and I will highly recommend to get your tax professional or someone just reviewing, because what happens in that case is that you get partial forgiveness, and there are a lot of calculations on that partial forgiveness that is not extremely clear how it will be. There's a lot of back and forth with CPAs, lawyers, and enroll agents having different, interpretations. So I will highly recommend just get professional help, because even for us, I have discussions with my own partners, inside our firm, other CPAs that they have been doing this for 30 years, 40 years. Unfortunately, this PPP program is completely new. So no one can, SBA has been great at releasing FAQs on like clarifications, but unfortunately no one can say, hey, my client did it this way and, did it right. Like with IRS cases and so on, we can use experience. This is completely new for everyone. We maybe spend more time than other people, but I would highly recommend just to get professional help, because even if you get partial forgiveness, that partial forgiveness can be higher, making like some calculations or like how you get around with the numbers. So, I think it's a good investment in that case.
Victor, I want to thank you very, very much for your time on this. If we have learned nothing today, ladies and gentlemen, it is the really critical importance of pulling all that information together that you're going to need to ensure that you get the forgiveness of this. It's reaching out to your financial institution and your CPA, and it's really being prepared for what's going to happen. Remember, This is a change of administrations now. It's not like we're rolling from one into another. This is going to be a totally different change of administration. So, you know, per what Victor said, the earlier that you pull everything together, the quicker you get it in and have it sitting on somebody's desk, the better it's going to be, because things are going to have to move pretty quickly come January 20th, right after the high noon. Upcoming events, folks, please tune in on December the 2nd at 11:30 and make sure you register online for our brunch with diverse chambers. And we are going to have our CPA to the stars, Victor Garrido, do this presentation again on December the 11th in Spanish. Okay, so if you missed it now and you'd like to revisit us on December the 11th in Spanish, Victor will be doing it again. And if you have questions, folks, please reach out to the chamber. We can put you in touch with Victor, or Victor's information was on the first or second slide. We really mean it. We're here to help. This is not an easy situation, so take advantage. We want to thank La Mega once again for sponsoring. Thank you all for participating. This is the last Resolve It in 30 before Thanksgiving holidays. Everybody be safe. Have a great time, and we look forward to seeing you on the other side.